developmental trauma and energy work, I'm referencing people who had no before the trauma. So as our personalities were being developed, we were in traumatic lives, chaos, abuse, all kinds of stuff, okay? Energetically speaking, well, let's rewind that. Psychologically speaking, there's terms for this. Ego fragmentation happens. There's splits at critical developmental ages, through early childhood, adolescence, our teen years, etc. Okay, all the way up until our early 20s. So what does that look like energetically? What does dissociation look like energetically? Have soul fragments or shock bubbles, as they've been called, and they can be attached via cords, and they hang out around us. And so when it's time to do that, you will reach your hands out around you and you can find them and very slowly pull them back into the body. You may need help doing that. You may be able to do it on your own. I learned how to do it on my own. Now, with dissociation, part of that is learning to come back in the body. There's an additional layer here, especially when your life was endangered during your childhood, early developmental. We're talking, infancy, toddler, small child can't escape. There's danger in your home. This affects the energy centers. So our energy centers open up as we develop. When there's giant traumas, they will all rip open. So parts of me that should be living down in the, base and sacral areas, the part that sacral is the seat of the self. That's where I should be, the self, the human self should be sitting. It's not there. It's not there. I have discovered it's been hanging on here for dear life in the heart center. Dear life, okay? And I've been slowly moving this part back down, okay? I'm working this out as I'm doing this in my own healing. I've also found parts of my energy centers or the self, because this is all one, they're not separate from me, literally outside my energetic field, like an arm almost. So where the funnel should be coming out here, it's over to the right, reaching out. And it should be inside the auric field, attached to me, moving out. So, we have found different ways to meet our own needs as small children. And so it's like a puzzle, right? Built a person, like a snowman, but, the biggest one that's supposed to be the foundation is up where the head should be. And then the smallest one, where the heart should be is down here, or there's nothing holding it up down there. And then an arm that should be out here is sticking out of the head. I mean, that's literally energetically what's going on when we've had these traumas. Not to mention the neuroceptors and the synapses and the rewiring that needs to take place. And then some of that, we live with, that's where the ADHD kind of stuff comes in for those of us with trauma. That's 99.999% of us with developmental trauma and complex PTSD also additionally have ADHD, because all that early exposure to cortisol and stress affected the cognitive functioning part of the brain, the development of it. So while our peers who weren't trying to literally live, were developing reasoning and critical thinking and all of the skills that go with the prefrontal cortex, we were living back here trying to find ways to survive. And we have to remember that finding ways to survive is just not about eating. Connection, feeling loved. And that means even in a home where we were not being, to survive, preserving the bond with our caregivers is paramount. It's human nature. Read people like Dr. Lawrence Heller with Healing Developmental Trauma, and he talks about a system called NARM, and it has a little bit to do with somatic expression. Somatic expression is not really good, and even they talk about it in somatic experiencing certifications for those of us with severe trauma, because we have other things we have to deal with before we can start expressing that out of our body. Anyway, and then, Peter Levine with The Body Keeps the Score, they are building on stuff. And that's what spirit is teaching me, is the stuff that's missing, because I'm actually healing my body, healing my soul, healing my spirit, my vital force. I'm taking it back and Dr. Lawrence Heller talks about this in Healing Developmental Trauma, about the vital force that we lose or leave. What he's not realizing is the vital force, a lot of it's in there. It's in the wrong places, holding on to the wrong thing, or out somewhere, like, built all wrong. Not wrong. It was a way to survive. And what fucking brilliant young beings we were to find a way to survive the terror we lived in. And this is why it's so important, if we are seeking out energetic healing, that we talk to people that have done their own healing of their own trauma. Because historically, and even today, these things that are really parts of us, and now sometimes they're not even in the physical body, these parts that are supposed to be in here, they're out here, and they don't look pretty because they're terrified. They're being labeled entities, curses or hexes or monsters or all kinds of terrible things, and they are truly parts of us. And when we label parts of us as something external, negative, evil, you may feel better after having some energy work done with someone else, but that's just a Band-Aid. And so now when you start feeling these other feelings again, and you're trying to grow and you're not making progress, it's because you have taken that part of you and you have put it in a little prison cell, and you cannot access it now. If you banish a part of you that you think is an evil entity or a hex, how are you supposed to heal that part of you? So I plead to you, as someone who is doing this work, my abuse began in infancy. I have had memories of the violence come back to me. My physical body shows the violence that I remember. Okay, I have healed my body of fibromyalgia. I'm healing my brain. I don't know how much of it will heal. And I'm learning also that's part of it too. If I was in a wheelchair, no one would expect me to prove that I am becoming enlightened, awakened, by walking. Okay, so let's not expect perfection here, because I'm still human in a human body. And my spirit guides and I talked about this, and I said that was most important to me is that I be relatable to the people I'm here to help, and that is other people with CPTSD, borderline personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder. These are my people, and I don't want to be unrelatable. So I'm willing, I want to be here where we can help each other. The healing process for us is a lot different. I saw my first Reiki practitioner recently, and some of the work is helping me, but I was talking to my sister who grew up in the same home as me. You know why it's helping me now? Because I have gotten I'm now above ground in my healing. I'm able, because what is being offered out there is not able to help those of us. Here's ground zero. We are down here. We're down here. Okay? Although it may make us have some relief, it's not healing us. And then when it doesn't work, what do we get told? You're addicted to chaos. You attract low vibration entities. It's a negative entity. You're not having faith, is what we got told. Then they start shifting the blame that we're doing something wrong. So join me while we figure this out together, because what's out there hasn't been working for us. And the spiritual realm, the angels, the interdimensional beings, the ancient ones, the guardians, they want to help us rise above the limitations that are out there from the community. Although helpful, we have to recognize that we have specialties in this community, and when we are not equipped to do something, it is our responsibility to say, I don't know. And then I don't know what to do, right? We have to learn to do that as practitioners. So let's figure out together. Share with me what has worked for you if you have any of these same diagnoses. And I want to share what's worked for me. And I don't even know what the hell, how to close this out. I don't even remember why I started this video. All I know is that now I can do 10-minute videos. We have to rearrange parts. So start with your hands out here and feel things in your energetic field. And if you are a healer who is open, because I am a healer of healers too, and if you feel limited in your ability to heal and you feel stuck, it's because the methods you have will not get you to that next level. So let's look outside of the realm of what we're used to, and let's be open to new ways of doing things.